Classes in Diablo are somewhat weird. You don't necessarily need a subclass, because usually what happens in Diablo games is that once we manage to reach that beautiful endgame, the community is going to find some ways to deal the most damage possible with the best skills possible, and this is basically how the builds are going to work. That said, you have a huge amount of active skills that are going to be determining how are you going to play the game, but with the case of the Necromancer, we do have a little bit more of a streamlined pipeline that you can follow if you want to level up, if you want to experience the campaign, if you want to roleplay. And one of my favorites, the one that I have been trying the most, is going to be the Blood Mage, Vampire Necromancer, and basically it's going to be a sorcerer that is going to be relying on the usage of blood. This is going to be a very beginner-friendly class because it's going to rely on being as healthy as possible while dealing the highest damage as possible. And yes, that is basically the definition of the genre right there. But no, in all seriousness, most of the skills that you are going to be using with this class, they are going to heal you, and most of the passive bonuses that you are going to be having with this class is going to increase the damage the more health that you have. So one amazing thing about this class is that you do not need to worry about that much when it comes to potions, which is a somewhat of a change mechanic that they did change a little bit on Diablo 4. You do have potions upgrading and so on and so forth. In this case scenario with the Blood Necromancer, Vampire Necromancer, you are not going to be using potions that much because you are going to be recovering health by using your skills. Think of this guy like a range class, and since this is a range class, you are going to be benefiting from having as many minions as possible. There are some necromancers that they get the most damage out of everything by having the passive skills that you get from not having minions. Since you are going to be attacking from a distance, you need to have something in front of you that is going to deal damage before the enemy gets to you. Now, when it comes to the skeletal mage, you are going to have the cold skeletal mages that are going to have the upgrade to increase the essence or give you essence back when they deal damage. We are going to be discussing about this a little bit later, but now let's begin with some things that might help you as a Vampire Necromancer that are not inherently part of the class. The first thing that is going to help you, it's going to be Death's Reach. Death's Reach, it's basically going to give you free damage, because like I said again, this is a ranger. You are going to be attacking from a range. The gameplay loop for this character class is going to be attack from a distance, attack from range. Your skeletons are very good at maintaining aggro. When they maintain the aggro, you get away, you deal damage from a distance, and you get free damage from this skill. The next skill that we are going to be taking, and that is going to help us quite a lot, is going to be the Skeletal Warrior Mastery, which increases the life and damage of the Skeletal Warriors. You want to keep these bad boys as alive as possible, as healthy as possible, while you deal damage from a distance. And there's also a passive skill that it is actually from the class that is going to be Transfusion. You are going to get this later on in the game, which is going to heal your minions. There are many boss fights in this game that do not have corpses, do not have minions. When a skeletal minion is killed, you raise it back up by using corpses. When you do not have corpses, then you have to rely on healing them, which is something that this class is going to allow you to do. That said, let's go through the first skill that you are going to have with this class, and it's going to be Hemorrhage. Hemorrhage is going to be the basic skill. This is not to deal damage. You are going to be using Hemorrhage basically by gaining essence. You are going to use essence with your main damage skill. So then again, you are not going to be using this that much because we have different ways of gaining essence, but it also has a 20% chance of forming a blood orb. When you feel like you need to heal, this is a little extra something that you can take. The upgrade for this thing is going to be Enhanced Hemorrhage, which is going to increase the damage dealt by gathering more health orbs. Usually there are two sides that you can alter all of these skills. One is going to be based on damage, the other one is going to be based on defense. Usually on defense with this class, it's going to be equal to damage as well, because then again, you benefit from being healthy. Most of your skills are going to increase their damage by staying healthy. And since you heal that much, you deal that more damage. So basically, if you feel like you're struggling a little bit, you can take the Initiate's Hemorrhage, which is going to fortify you each time that you use it. If you instead want to use the Acolyte's Hemorrhage, which is the second choice that you have for this skill, this is just basically going to give you attack percent speed while you are healthy. Then again, you are not going to be using this thing that much. What you are going to be using, and this is the skill that you should upgrade ASAP to the maximum to deal the highest amount of damage while you are leveling up, it's going to be Bloodlance. Bloodlance is a skill that you use from a distance. It's going to deal decent amount of damage, but out of all of the skills that you are going to have with this character, this is the one that is going to deal the most damage. It's not going to cost that much essence, and you are going to be able to spam it. Remember that I told you about the skeletal mages. Most of the cases, in 80% of the time, they are going to be the ones gaining the essence back to you, and that 20% of the time where you do not have enough essence to keep spamming this bad boy, you are going to be using your basic attack skill, which is Hemorrhage, to gain the essence. Keep spamming this thing. The upgrade of this thing, the first modifier, is going to be Bloodlance, which is going to be a somewhat of a AoE kind of attack. It's going to deal damage, it's going to pierce through enemies, and it's going to be amazing against crowds of enemies. The two possible upgrades that you have for this thing, actually both of them mean damage. One of them, which is going to be Paranormal Bloodlance, this is going to give you attack speed. The second one, which is the one that I recommend for you to take, is the Supernatural Bloodlance, which is going to cast an overpowered skill for this, the more times you use it. To be precise, if you use Bloodlance 8 times, which then again, you are spamming this thing, it's going to overpower the skill. Overpowering skills basically means more damage. It's going to be more damage, and it's also going to cast a Blood Orb. Again, healing you back, healing your minions, and keeping you on the battlefield. Then again, this is what you are going to be using 80% of the time. Then we have Blood Surge. Blood Surge is an AoE attack. When the enemies do manage to pierce through the shield wall that your skeletons are going to provide to you, you are going to be using this thing, which is a very amazing, highly damaging skill in a 360 area. Not that long, but if the enemies do get close to you, this is something that you can use. It's going to also deal a Blood Surge Nova damage increase percentage by the amount of enemies that it hits. The main upgrade is going to heal you again, which is very amazing, and the two upgrades that we have available for this one of them is going to gain the Overpower status, which is going to basically mean more damage the more stacks that you have from this. And the one that I advise for you to take with this guy is going to be the second one, which is Supernatural Blood Surge, basically going to fortify you and making you more durable. And then again, if the enemies are piercing through you, this is something that you would use to gain more armor, to keep healthy, and to keep dealing damage. The next skill that we are going to have, it's going to be Blood Mist. Blood Mist is basically the skill that you throw, that you cast, when you feel like you're getting your ass handed to you, right? If you feel that your health is very low, if they manage to take that beautiful healthy status away from you, this is what you're going to cast. It's going to make you immune, it's going to deal damage, and it's going to heal you the most enemies that it hits. The first upgrade for this thing is going to basically an overpower usage of skill is going to decrease the cooldown of this thing. And then again, remember when we spoke about the lenses and they being overpowered, they gaining the overpower status. then that means that you're basically always going to be invincible, because if the enemy manages to deal damage enough to you to get you on defense, then this is what you are going to cast, and you are going to have more than enough uses because of the overpowered skills that you have been spamming throughout the entirety of the fight. And then we have the two possible upgrades. One of them is going to give you fortified status, which is basically just going to give you more defense, allowing you to get out of the defense that much faster. And the next one is going to allow you to cast more corpses. Then again, we do not use corpses that much because we focus on healing our minions by our own means, but it's definitely usable, definitely amazing if you are fighting against a boss that is not leaving corpses and that it killed your minions. Then that is a lifesaver. It's a lifesaver situation for the boss to be entertained with your skeletons. That said, the next portion of the build is going to be the passive bonuses. Once you have taken all of that, and usually this is going to be by level 17-ish, something close, you are going to reach the passive bonuses of the class, which is basically going to enhance all of the previous aforementioned. The gruesome mending is going to give you more healing while you are below 50% health. Then again, remember, this build focuses heavily on healing yourself, on staying healthy to deal more damage. Then we have transfusion. We did speak about this before, which is the one that heals your minions when you are taking blood orbs. Then we have coalesced blood, which is the one that you should be upgrading as soon as possible. When you are healthy, you are going to increase percentage amounts of damage with your skills. So basically, heal yourself, deal more damage. Take that one as soon as possible. Then we have Drain Vitality. Hitting enemies with blood skills will allow you to fortify yourself. Again, maintaining you healthy, synergizing with the previous one, giving you more damage. Tides of Blood is going to deal increased overpower damage, and the bonus of the overpower damage is doubled while you are healthy. Remember that we chose to take these lances that overpower themselves. Usually I would advise for you with this build to take as much skills that overpower, because they are going to deal that more damage when you're healthy. And then finally we have the ultimate, which is the Blood Wave. The Blood Wave is just basically how it sounds. It's a very damaging blood wave that is going to deal tremendous amounts of damage to the enemies. It's also going to slow them down if you take the upgrade, and it's also going to leave behind blood orbs, and this is something that you should be casting again if you are on defense and you need healing as soon as possible. But then again, since we generate so many blood orbs with this build, we are always going to be healing. And then we finally have the hidden passive skill bonus that we did not have access on the beta, but basically it increases your maximum life by 10%, and then by staying healthy with this passive bonus, you are going to be overpowering your next skill, which then again, we have so many passives that increase the damage of our overpowers and that increase the damage when you are healthy. And that is basically how this is going to work. It is somewhat of a boring kind of thing once you use it that much, but hey, this is Diablo. It's the repetitive of the repetitive of the repetitiveness. Then again, just to wrap up, this is going to be a ranged class that is going to deal more damage the more healthy that you are. And you are always going to be healthy because you're always draining blood from your enemies. The Vampire Necromancer is one of my favorite classes so far. It is very beginner friendly because you do not have to worry about that much about potions and whatnots. And if you find the information useful, a like in the video is super appreciated. And I want to tell you that you're a gorgeous and beautiful person. You are indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person, and I'll be seeing you goddamn gorgeous and beautiful people in the next one. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel before you close the door, and I'll be seeing you goddamn gorgeous beautiful people again in the next one. Have a beautiful day and goodbye.